Hey everyone, and I thank you guys so much for hanging out with me yet again on another episode of My Orchid Adventures with me, Maria Young. Okay, so in today's episode, we're going to be focusing on my tillandsias that I have here in my garden and growing so beautifully, I might add. But I do have a certain dilemma with one particular tillandsia, and I'm going to show you exactly what that dilemma is and why it's happening. And if we look closely within this garden atmosphere, we will actually begin to notice that this garden is actually quite littered with an assortment of different types of tillandsias. You can even find them intermingled within some of my orchid displays. Sometimes you can find them growing naturally, or you can actually find them mounted within a beautiful orchid arrangement. But no matter how we decide to grow them, one can definitely agree that they make such a tropical splash within any garden or tropical orchid arrangement. And believe it or not, folks, some tillandsias are actually quite edible. Such as this bromeliad right here that has quite an interesting bract that will eventually turn into what we commonly know as a pineapple. Okay folks, and when I say tillandsias, what I'm actually referring to is quite a variety of different air plants. And as the name suggests, air plants, it indeed can grow right in the air, okay? But commonly you will see these attaching themselves onto trees, other vegetations, and of course anywhere it can actually latch onto, it will grow. So indeed, it's a simple upkeep on these tillandsias slash air plants slash bromeliads. And the way that it would actually get its water and its nutrients, of course, is by simply spraying them down. How simple is that? It doesn't get that much more simple than that, guys. I'm telling ya. Okay, so today I am featuring this bromeliad slash tillandsia basket right here that actually contains about 4 different tillandsias in here. And this one right here, wrapped up in this Spanish moss, is actually one of my favorites. This reminds me with its many tentacles of an octopus. Quite an interesting tillandsia right here. And I just love its winding, twisty texture. And this right here is an adorable little tillandsia that is usually over-dominated by this humunga dunga tillandsia right here. But indeed, this tillandsia also has a place in this tillandsia basket. And what's unusual about this is this can actually change to different colors. Depending on how much sun it gets, it could turn into a purplish or a reddish color. So indeed, very nice in its foliage and very tropical. And what I love most about this little guy is indeed it has a nature of clumping up. So you can call this a baby maker, and indeed you can end up with a basket full of these little guys. And this tillandsia right here, you will find that the foliage is very, very grassy. You will also notice that it is very long, piney, and very spindly as well, which adds characteristic and also a tropical look to any arrangement. Okay, so let me introduce you to the queen tillandsia of this basket and explain to you why she is quite a troublemaker. Okay folks, so when I created this tillandsia basket, I have to say this was my pride and joy. It was such a beautiful arrangement. But right now, it's not even sitting properly. If you look at it, it's kind of turned up in such a way because there's something that is weighing this entire basket down where it can't even sit upright as it should. And I'm sure you're wondering what in the world could be weighing down this basket so heavily. Well, here it is. Drum roll, please. This long, did I mention, long spike right here. This tillandsia spike is what is holding this basket down. And let me go further back. You see how long that spike is? Just really ridiculous, right? And I have to tell you folks, this very insane 4-foot spike took about 6 months to be created. And look at here, look at here, look at all of those seed pods that are coming too. And that's exactly why I refuse to cut this spike, even though it would be more beneficial for me to do so in having a very beautiful arrangement. But you know what? I would much rather have lots and lots of these types of tillandsias in my garden. So yeah, I'm putting up with the stress of having this insane 4-foot spike right here. And folks, this did bloom, but I have to say it's nothing to write home about. I mean, the blossom was actually really teeny tiny, and they were white color, just so small you could barely see it. And once you did see it, you kind of wish that you didn't, because again, not much of an impact there. So yeah, it's not because of the blossoms that I kept this spike, but it is indeed the fact of the tillandsia potential that I could possibly have in my garden. So indeed, I am keeping this very crazy spike right here. And as you can see here, folks, just a multitude of these seed pods that are beginning to form on this tillandsia. And indeed, there will come a time and a moment where they will burst forth open, and the seeds that emulate spores will be spread throughout my garden. And that will be a happy day indeed, because I will relish again in so many multiple amounts of tillandsias. I can't wait, folks. I just cannot wait. And there you have it, folks, my dilemma with these doggone tillandsias. Well, in actual reality, they aren't dilemmas at all. They are actually quite blessings that they can grow naturally within my garden. So indeed, they are my garden blessings. And I'd like to thank you so much for tuning in to yet another orchid adventure with me, Maria Young. And if you like this video, please be sure to give it 2 thumbs up. And of course, if you want to see more videos such as these, please be sure to subscribe. And if you would like to join me on my adventures on Facebook, you can do that at My Orchid Adventures. If you want to contact me via snail mail, you can do that at the address right here. Again, I thank you so much for tuning in to yet another orchid adventure. Stay tuned for more. And as you guys already know, I love you all. Mwah!